Hope you're all still awake. Late Night Mega here, and we're back with a 126th place. It is my stage. Darn, my stage is in Tier 5. Froggy Gravity. By yours truly. Average score of 44.2. Hey Spark is the one that liked mine the most. Well, I know who's not getting fired. Anyways, let's get into it. This also means that my stage is lower than Doctor Novakaine's. Skip teleporter, that's never a good sign. But I do know why it's there. Also, health bar is blinky. Okay. I'm going to talk about the design of this stage and what all went into it, some of my frustrations. Because, oh boy, did I have frustrations working with the engine on this. But, first, Dr. MaGMML. I guess I'm going to get dinged on aesthetics because I don't actually have the pictures of the things there. I didn't know how to do that. I didn't even know you could do that. So, okay. Fair critique. Toadman has escaped and is building an army of nightmare frogs. You've got to stop him. Don't bother, MaGMML. I can't intercept any transmissions you get from Dr. Light. I can intercept any transmissions you can get from Dr. Light. I can't read properly right now. I was excited. My stage is in this game. You'll never get past my nightmare illusions. Nightmare illusions or green screen. So this is what's going on here. And of course, since we saw one of these, the idea was that, you know, you first see this and then you have to go, oh, yes, there was one back here. And that's where the first tricky token is. And there's an enemy. There's an enemy. They're coming through the green screens. Oh, it's been 5.5 years since I played this stage. Nightmare frogs! Ah! And there's an enemy. Yeah, it kind of causes the health bar to go all blinky. I don't remember that from my testing. Alright, and this is the point where you're just going to have to trust that when you see a green screen that goes all the way down, that you're going to be able to land on it. Stupid nightmare frogs. He should be right there. Kind of knowing where enemies are and being able to visualize their movement is how I put bolts in this stage. Should have put a big one. Alright, checkpoint reached, and now we have our next gimmick, time bombs. When I first designed this stage, I also wanted to do things that you couldn't do in Mega Maker, hence the green screen effect. That green screen effect, by the way, took me... Let's just say I had many frustrations, not just with the well, let's do a walkthrough, and then I'll get to judge comments. So... Oh, that explodes with a different sound effect than the others. Okay. But the idea being that you're gonna be shown the number, or numbers, and then the next count bombs are going to show there. And so we have pi, 3.14. Haha. You do not have to fight every enemy. Ooh, I thought I was gonna get hit there. And here comes a guy. Now remember what we had earlier. Tricky token. That's not the right rush. Rush coil to get out of here. Magnet beam to get killed. Okay. We're fine. Hey, a capsule. Oh yeah, this one. Now, it's 007, so you're expected to make jumps. That one, maybe I shouldn't have had the flying enemy. Now, I do know I got the skip teleporter due to difficulty, and I just want to apologize if some of this stage ended up being too difficult. I realized that spot right there was probably too much, but can't change it now. And here we have some fill-ups just before a green screen fight with a mini-boss. Oh, how did that hit me? The other idea was he shoots the laser out forward, and you can see it shooting the laser, but you're behind the green screen. Alright. Mega Man, good job overcoming Toadman's green screen effect. Now, all you have to do is beware. This is my attempt at storytelling. No more getting advice from Dr. Light, but don't worry. I'll help you understand the gravity of this situation. Okay, so originally... Okay. I guess we gotta talk about a couple things. I'm using the green screen now to flip gravity. That is because I could not get the animation to work. And I had many frustrations with trying to get help using the engine that designs this, because I don't know a lot of computer programming. I know, like, very bare bones basic, like I've seen computer code before. But as far as when I was building this stage, I felt like every little thing I had to do required knowing computer coding and knowing the ins and outs of the specific language used with the engine used for this. So, and I watched the tutorial video. I watched it many, many times. Tutorial video, I think it was made by Snorunt Pyro. Anyways, I couldn't get the gravity. I tried one time. By the time I was at this point designing the stage and trying to get stuff working the way I wanted it to, I was so sick of trying to get things to work that I just said, okay, we're just going to put the green screen here and use that to flip gravity. So the green screen bar is going to flip gravity. To get this... Well, you're going to want to use Magnet Beam. It is an easy E. It just wasn't easy on that attempt. Oh, what? I can't... I guess I wasn't. Maybe if I was sliding. I know it can be gotten. And I feel it's my duty to demonstrate this. Nope, you can't just slide and flip. Okay, it's quite precise. So yeah, my experience with the Discord... Ha! I got it. My experience with the Discord was largely unhelpful, and I'm not gonna I'm not gonna call out anyone or bash anyone specific on here. It was just, I would spend an entire day just trying to get the green screen effect to work, for instance. And so a lot of times I felt like what I was being told was like step 4 and 5 of a 5-step process and not knowing steps 1, 2, and 3. So for instance, the green screen effect, someone said, you know, when I got a response, a lot of times I wouldn't even get a response. So there was that issue too, and I'd spend a lot of time just sitting there waiting to get help or trying to get help and not really getting any. Again, I'm not blaming anyone in particular or anything like that. It's just, that was my experience. So I asked one time when it came to the animation of the gravity stuff, because I tried what the tutorial said, it wasn't working, I don't know what was wrong, so this is how we ended up with green screen for gravity flipping. Isn't there supposed to be an enemy? Oh, there's an enemy. Baseball boys! Oh. I picked the baseball boys to be introduced here, although it wasn't a safe introduction. Because the way they throw their curveballs in that, it does feel like it goes with the gravity theme, even though if it wasn't necessarily in Mega Man 5. So there's that. We'll hop over here. Nightmare frogs! Ow. Baseball boys. Oh. I made too much of a jump there. I also may not have checkpointed enough, because that was quite the stretch. Like I said, I built this stage 5.5 years ago. Whee! Oh, I did not make... I was expecting gravity flip there for some reason, even though it was a block of green screen and not the stretch. You can also just ignore enemies, largely. That one was tricky. I know there's a way to get through it, though. So the setup with this... I thought I had an item behind the baseball boy, but I didn't. So the reason there's a key there, and that's a key gate, is not really to introduce a mechanic, because the key isn't going to do anything else. It was to force you to engage with the baseball boy and take him out in order to progress. So that was the idea behind that. And I wanted you to not take him out from the other side, so hence the block there. Ah, this tricky token is an interesting one. This was actually the last tricky token I placed in the stage. And it basically came down to, I had the whole stage all designed and everything, and I wanted to place 5 tricky tokens, because I figured it would kind of help my score in that. And it came down to, I didn't want to make another side path, because we do have another side path coming up. But I wanted to... So I needed to put this tricky token somewhere, but it needed to be, possible to get. And this was the first spot I tried, and I'm like, is this even possible to get? It is possible with the magnet beam, as we'll attempt to demonstrate in a moment here. But what you have to do is magnet beam. Might be better to take out the baseball. I could use that health. Might be better to take out the baseball boy, but you can get it and get back without dying with magnet beam. That's just out of reach, but that's okay. Okay, this screen... I can talk about this screen. Okay, he can't hit me from here. I can talk about this screen for a little bit. This is the screen that took me the single longest time to implement. Because, number one, I wanted to have gravity flipping with this mini-boss. Trying to have gravity flipping with this mini-boss was a nightmare. I don't remember how long I spent on this screen alone, but yeah, there was lots of testing. I tried flipping the mini-boss upside down. The game didn't like that. I tried because it would just, you know, flip the right way and everything. Sometimes its hitbox would be at its feet, which becomes really awkward. I originally had it, maybe not originally, but I had it so it would flip, it would be upside down, and I gave it no room to flip, so it was like right there. But then I could just blast at its feet, and that's where it could blast its feet. Yeah. So I put a conveyor here, because if there's no conveyor, as you can see, you could just be on that platform and not ever take damage. You can also hit him on the way down there. Ooh, hey. So, yeah, this way you can still, the laser can still be a danger. And you have to fight this guy with the gravity effect. Or you could use, you know, special weapons, but... I was told to design the stage to complete without special weapons, so that's what we're gonna do. Aside from Magnet Beam. Oh, I did put pickups in my stage. I almost thought I didn't. Okay, also if you've been paying attention to the numbers, they're all references to something like pi or 007. This one is 619, which is a it's an it's a special move that Rey Mysterio, a pro wrestler, uses, so it's a wrestling reference. Now, once again, green screen, kind of hiding something. You know, we didn't have green screen like this if it was, and here's a help from Proto Man. The green screen was hiding this secret path. This is the side path I was talking about earlier. This is the hardest tricky token to get, for sure. And it is based on 90210. Now, the space I had to work with, because I already created the rest of the stage before I put in this side path, I needed to have this side path be exactly like 2 screen lengths. And so that meant kind of cramming a lot. Also, 90210 being a reference to the TV show Beverly Hills 90210. While I think it was cute that I did this with the time bombs, looking back, it's not necessarily my best idea, because trying to work with 90210 on time bombs leads to... Oh, that's right, you're not going to that count bomb. Yeah. At least I can keep my magnet beam full, which is what that power-up was designed to do. I have to do like a short hop, don't I? Yep. Can't do that big of a hop. That's okay, I needed more magnet beam. Why do we have the Nightmare Frog there? Oh, yeah, that's how you get it. And then you got spikes all down here, you just slide under them. Oh, and you come back out the way you came in. Yeah, that's how I did that. Okay, gotcha. I understand. Go away, you. I forgot that that was 9. Right, that was a 9. So I think one of the other issues with this stage in terms of difficulty is that I'm expecting the player to remember the count bombs. So that's 619. And I went and I had that little side path. And this one you're supposed to remember is a 9. And that gives you enough time to deal with the Nightmare Frog. And now we have the final stretch, which is going to be tricky as well. 8675309 8. I missed the 6. Phone call incomplete. I had some fun designing this stage, I'm not gonna lie. Also, even if you don't remember the time bomb numbers, it'll still flash before it explodes, so there's that. Eight, 6, 7, 5, 3, 09. Made it. Get out of here. Okay. We're gonna... Why is this room so ugly? What was the reason behind this? Okay. I bet you couldn't find all of the tokens hidden behind my green screen. So this was a hint for earlier in the level, where if you missed some tricky tokens, they were probably behind green screens. In fact, 4 of them were. I was really happy with that one tricky token that I placed that wasn't. The one I kind of told the story about. You made it to the mainframe of our Nightmare Frog spy network. But it doesn't matter, you won't be able to beat us. So this is a double boss fight, which the entire stage is based around, if you hadn't guessed. Let's talk about this for a minute. Toadman, I had to make sure, is designed to be hit from any angle. And sometimes, Gravity Man will end up blocking the shots for Toadman, and he can get off his acid rain. Like that! Just like that. I love that interaction. And now we're down to just Gravity Man, which I can't hit. So the first thing I actually built for this stage was the boss fight. How? Because I had to make sure the boss fight was going to work if before doing anything else and building the actual stage. And this part exploded so that if you were out of utilities for whatever reason, and for whatever reason you killed Toadman last, which I don't know why you would. I think the boss fight kind of turns into kill Toadman first, because Toadman is more threatening here. Then the energy element would be up here, and you need a way to get that, so there's no soft lock there. Oh yeah, I also need to thank Doctor Novakaine for playtesting it. You guys think this stage was difficult as it was. Oh, you should have seen the version I gave to Doctor Novakaine to playtest. The gravity flipping wasn't always the same, and sometimes the green screen bar did not gravity flip at all. So it ended up just being a wild guess. I also think some of the problems with the difficulty comes from... Who do I want to... We're going to read all the judge comments. It's my stage. We're doing this. We're going to start with A Spark, though, because he'd be my favorite. Interesting stage. Oh, thank you. It could have used more polish in the aesthetic region. I'm aware of that. I knew I'd get... What were my scores on the aesthetics? Yeah. Okay. Fair. I also realized that some of the difficulty comes from having to remember what the count bombs, those mystery count bombs were, and trying to deal with enemies or other challenges at the same time as that, and that is kind of could be information overload. Maybe just asking a bit too much, and that's okay. That's what I made 5.5 years ago. Do I think it's a great stage now? Probably not. Do I think it's better than what all of the non-A Spark judges are scoring it right now? Probably. Anyways, let's get into judge comments, for real. Mostly, it's also a level which felt much nicer on a second go than its initial and somewhat frustrating blind run. The concept of a stage whose main gimmick is to hide crucial information is so easy to screw up. I don't think that happened here. There are enough context clues for the player to understand what is expected of them, mostly. The first half is better designed segment, and you play with the idea just enough to maintain interest. I wasn't a fan of the second half, mostly, but that came down to almost entirely to the use of the Strike Man enemies, the Mecha Pitch-In, but the knowledge that they die to a charge shot followed by a single lemon or magnetic shockwave smooths out the experience. That just leaves the awkward timing challenges of the gravity flipping. It takes a very long time to get used to them, and a couple of them I think were a bit too much, like the ones where you had to do a small hop or no hop at all. I think that was a bit too much on my part. So if you're having trouble with this stage, I hope my playthrough helped you with that, and I apologize. Anyways, also I think part of the reason my stage is more difficult is because I tend to like a higher difficulty of stages. If you watch my MaGMML level 48-hour playthrough, a couple of the stages that I said I would have put in my top 10 were in tier like 8 and 9. Anyways, enough of that. Awkward timing challenges of the gravity flipping. It takes a long time to get used to them, and the more awkward ones can be irritating when they're several screens away from the checkpoint. Graphically, it's okay, mostly. He's using the word mostly a lot. The outdoors looks fine, if dull, but more attention to detail on the thin green tiles really needed. It causes the stage to look unfinished. I know it wasn't in the dev kit, but it was a really easy thing to solve with a mere few new tiles. I'm not sure what he's referring to. The indoors missing drop shadows makes the second half look especially rough, but I appreciate that death pits were indicated. Missing drop shadows? I don't... Okay. One real highlight is the boss, again, mostly. I appreciate attempts to make stock Robot Master fights interesting, and it is one of the few times where a combined Robot Master fight doesn't devolve into utter nonsense. By thoughtfully having to focus on keeping Toadman at bay, it results in a clever boss fight that actually turns one of the worst Robot Master fights into a legitimate threat. That is exactly what I was going for. It's a shame that you are then left having to deal with Gravity Man, seeing how he's super easy. It results in a bit of an anticlimax. Yeah, a little bit. Had both bosses died together, this would have been an ideal finish. Okay, fair point. Or maybe just give Toadman... Nah, maybe don't have the fight have a bar and a half of health. And they share it? I don't know. So as I said, interesting stage. I think this will end up frustrating quite a few, but I ultimately came away with a positive experience. Well, A Spark is immune from firing. I didn't get my 62 from Flashman. Yeah, I didn't forget that one. Although 47's not super far off, there are signs everywhere that this level is trying to be good, but I'm not going to pretend like I didn't give it a fun score of 5. Wait, what are my fun scores? Oh gosh. A-Spark had fun with my stage. The graphics and architecture make for an inoffensive visual experience, and it's generally clear which way to go and what's a bottomless pit. The music fits the premise, if not the overall feel of each section. On a technical level, everything is in good order except for some problematic screen transitions and a health bar that sometimes flickers, presumably due to the green screens being the same depth. Yeah, I had to change a certain value somewhere to make the green screen effect happen, and at one point I had it, someone told me to set it to like -1,000,000, and I did that, and if you paused the game on the green screen, I found this like late in playtesting, pausing the game late in somewhere where there's a green screen will make the green screen cover the pause menu too, so you can't even see what weapon you're picking. A little bit amusing, but I was not thrilled when that happened. Again, advice I got from the Discord. The challenge progression feels deliberate, yet it seldom takes into account what the player has actually learned at any given point. The random key door and conveyor don't help. Okay, that conveyor, I explained the key door and the conveyor because I knew they were one-time gimmicks. Like I said, I explained that in the stage. The conveyor needed to be there, otherwise that mini-boss just does not function the way I wanted it to. And you can just sit there and wail on him from that platform if you are not being pushed along a conveyor. I needed something to get the player off the conveyor, and the mini-boss could not do it. I would have preferred a question mark detonating the mystery count bombs. The lack of any text looks like a glitch at first. The entire level is too brutal in a Buster-only run, and too easily dismantled by special weapons. Rush Jet bypasses the entire first half. Well, I didn't use Rush Jet, and I did Buster only, and I did not think it was too brutal to Buster only, but I'm also the stage designer too. And apparently, my degree of difficulty liking is higher than others. I've been over this. There's a certain measure of satisfaction from blasting through the gravity section on Rush Bike, but that's mostly because I don't have to worry about every single enemy knocking me into a pit before I have a chance to react. Toadman and Gravity Man working together is a novel concept, and it makes for a satisfyingly coordinated boss fight. Amidst the electric assortment of enemies is a focused, coherent theme of concealment and surprise. The level is a little on the long side, but that's offset by regular checkpoints and power-ups. Cute dialogue and subtle referential humor with the count bomb numbers add some much-needed levity. I get the sense that I wasn't playing the right way to make this more enjoyable, which, speaking from experience, indicates the need for a more diverse playtesting group. Yeah, I did not have a big playtesting group, and after designing the level and then editing it after Doctor Novakaine played it, I just kind of kept it as it was and submitted it as it was. I did still submit it like a week or two before the deadline, I think. But at that point, with all the frustrations I had with the engine itself and the Discord and trying to get help and all that, I was like, I have a finished product. I'm satisfied enough with it. I'm going to submit this. The frog is coming. Ha, that's my thing from Patchy. Obstruction gimmicks, huh? That's a risky thing to design your stage around because they can easily lead to some unfair situations. While unique, I feel the stage would have been better off without them. They often don't add into the level design, and when the foreground obstruction is used, could easily replace it with a background indicator for when gravity gets flipped instead. Naturally gonna hide the tokens in some of the foreground walls, right? It could have been way worse, I guess, but I do also notice the tendency of the stage to throw in fast airborne enemies or homing projectiles in your face as you traverse through the bottomless pits. Without fail, you can bet that you're going to get knocked off at least once by each of the pests placed around. Maybe I should have had less bottomless pits. I don't know. That one token room pretty much requires you to use Magnet Beam. Even said so in the text box, so why the extra hassle of trying to make it seem traversable without it? Did you think that jump was makeable without it? Pardon? It says to use Magnet Beam. You have a gap that's too large to jump between two of the time bombs. It just seems like the room was never completely fleshed out. So the decided solution is forced weapon usage. Not the most elegant solution. Okay, fair enough. Interesting Gravity Toadman duo boss, I guess. Actually, the battle typically goes like, focus on Toadman first, then deal with Gravity Man when he's done. So in reality, it's more of an extended Gravity Man fight. Also, one extra tile of Toadman's chamber gets cut off after winning the battle. That is intentional, because otherwise you can't jump up there without the use of utilities, and it could be potential for soft lock Patchy. You better not have docked my function. What was my functionality score from Patchy? You docked my functionality for that. Give me those 2 points back. Who thought? Oh, I got a 24 out of 35 for design. Fun. Where's my... some decent creativity scores here. Alright. I can understand wanting to make something that's geared more towards the challenging side of things. However, there's a very fine line between something that's challenging but fair and something that's challenging simply for the sake of it. This level feels like it's firmly planted in the latter category. Things don't start off too bad, though. The obscuring screen panels are introduced well, and the enemy placement is very manageable, although the shield attacker definitely could have done with a better introduction. Fair point. Once you get past the first checkpoint, however, things start to go downhill rapidly. Nearly every segment in the level from this point forward is directly over a pit, with the primary focus being jumps across count bombs. That in itself wouldn't be so bad if it weren't for the enemy placement. I had a lot more enemies too when Doctor Novakaine was playing the stage, just to let you know. A large number of them, especially the Pookapellers and Croakers, are set up to blindside the player. You're almost guaranteed to die anytime you get hit by them as well, given how small most of the platforms are. All this makes for a very frustrating session of trial and error, which really isn't helped by the fact that some of the timers on count bombs are either obscured or just flat out don't exist. I will admit that I probably shouldn't have used the green screen to obscure the time bombs, but the reason they don't exist is you're given hints. You're given the numbers that the time bombs are before those ones that don't have the numbers. Maybe I could have added a text box from Dr. Light at that one checkpoint, the first checkpoint that introduced that. I don't know. And while I can definitely see it, I don't play Mega Man to be stressed out. Unfortunately, stress and frustration are most of what the invisible timer segments here bring to the table. The double boss fight against Gravity Man and Toad Man at the end doesn't make up for the previous faults in the stage either. At best, it's an annoying fight that takes a while if you're doing it Buster only, or you could just breeze through it with Spark Chaser like a sensible person. Overall though, it's still one of the lesser evils this level has to offer. Ugh, I didn't expect to find a level whose concept I fundamentally despised, and yet here we are. Oh dear. The basic idea of this level is taking fairly normal level design, then removing or covering up a bunch of visual information to make it needlessly obtuse. For the most part, this is just bothersome. The green gravity indicators have enough contextual information that you can figure them out. Basically, I made it so it always flips. Except for the time where you come out of the tricky token spot, and then the next one doesn't flip. Ultimately making the cover-up pointless. The cover-up was actually to hide the fact that I couldn't get the animation for the normal gravity flipping graphic to work. Apparently none of the judges caught on that. And all the green screens really do is cover up enemies and tokens, the latter of which is thwarted by Make a Good Mega Man Levels map upgrade, which could have been prepared for since Make a Good Mega Man Level 2 had it. I don't remember if I played Make a Good Mega Man Level 2 before I made this stage, or not. Maybe I did. Maybe I didn't. However, the count bombs are another matter entirely. The thing about count bombs is that their core concept is the countdown to explosion. You can see how long you have until 0, giving the player an obvious time frame that they can use to their advantage. This kind of tries to give you that info still, namely by giving you a sequence of bombs with timers visible, then expecting you to remember that exact sequence of numbers for the unmarked bombs. In practice, this is so obtuse that I didn't find out how it worked until literal years after I'd first played this. Wow, you've got precious little way of knowing if the bomb you just touched will explode in 9 or 0 or anywhere in between, unless you have those sequences memorized. If it's exploding in 0, you better have split-second reaction time, or just realize that you're designed to jump off of it right away and the stage is designed so that you should just jump off of it right away, like the 007. You better have split-second reaction time because otherwise you're dead. This is especially bad since we're asked to fight on these bombs, which is a lot to ask on top of memorizing the bomb numbers beforehand, if you even realized you needed to do that, and keeping track of the beeps. Especially since the entrance to the Star Token Challenge is right in the middle of a number blank sequence. Yeah, that was bad design, I will give you that. So it's painfully easy to forget that number set. I even did that in my playthrough here. That's semi-embarrassing. But yeah, you live and learn. Informed choices are an important part of fair difficulty, and that comes from consistency and proper telegraphing. The countless bombs have some of the worst telegraphing I've ever seen. And I've seen a lot of bad tells. End result, this whole thing ends up smacking of fake difficulty. I think you're a little bit too harsh. As a result, this is not entertaining. When the entire level is filled with fake difficulty, intended or otherwise, as a designer, it's hard for me to enjoy myself. There's effort put into this, yes, and the boss fight at the end was both cathartic and honestly one of the better double robot masters I've seen. Otherwise, I don't want to play this again. I didn't enjoy this, and y'all are lucky to have the upgrades we're providing in the main game. Okay, well, that was going through all of the judge comments. I decided I'm not firing anybody. The people had the experiences that they had, and that was kind of their takeaways. You know, A-Spark liked it. A-Spark and I are probably more closer to the same than anything else. I'm a bit sad I didn't make it to the upper half, but you know, oh well, it's a contest. And, would I do another stage? Stop with the bouncing. Would I do another stage again? Probably not. I think I just don't have the time commitment to put forth a really good stage, or a stage in general, like I did 5.5 years ago. I enjoy playing it more than designing it. So, yeah. Well, I guess we're going to leave things off here, so for now, I'll take my leave.